Hello and welcome everyone to episode 24 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer at Shonen Jump, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
Hey, how's it going? Not only freelance letterer, but freelance technically award-nominated manga letterer.
Ooh.
It's not really me, but we in the comics industry they have the Eisner Awards, and it is mostly focused on like American comics, and they sort of have like a side thing for manga where they're like nobody really like what's manga, but Kaiju number 8 got nominated, which has nothing to do with me, but I work on it, so I'm gonna take that W.
Hey, I definitely, you're part of the team that got it to get it to that nomination. You know that's a big thing there. It's funny that you're saying like manga's like an also Randy when the manga industry is so much bigger than the American comics industry.
It's so funny. Yeah, we're just like we're the sideshow, but we make more money. So
yeah, go figure. Well, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. I call that a big deal, almost as big as what we see in these chapters.
Oh, nice.
So let's get to it. Chapter 116, big. I want to be big. Of course, we get more of Kobe and Helmeppo, their chronicle of toil. And hey, turns out they're starting to train with each other, beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, they're beating the crap out of each other. Helmeppo's, he's got that two-sword style going on. Mount Fuji's in the background.
They all have lumps on top of lumps on top of lumps. Yeah. And I gotta say, I think Kobe's looking a little worse. He has a bit more bandages than Helmeppo.
Yeah. He's going easy on him.
Yeah. I also love the fact that they're not technically that muscly. Like they're still stringy.
Yeah. They're getting there. Like Kobe's even gotten noticeably taller. I've just noticed. Yeah, compared to when we last saw him in the manga proper. Mm-hmm. I'll have to go back and compare, but like he's definitely taller.
Yeah, it'd be hard to tell because they a lot of manga they start out the character designs very cherubish. I'd say.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think to sort of exaggerate his weakness, you know.
Yeah, I that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, but look at my boys.
Like it's another good bit, but it's also like I don't know. Are you starting to get tired of this story?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely like. Buggy's every single chapter gave me something to laugh about. They're just like, oh my god, look at how bonkers this is. And that isn't even to say that this one is like particularly bad. I love checking in on Kobe and Helmeppo, but like the sort of like amount of interesting things happening from chapter to chapter is like, it's fine.
Yeah, it's basically where I'm at. But fortunately, there's some interesting stuff going on in the manga proper where...
Yeah. First page of the chapter, Sanji meets a dinosaur.
Yeah, comes across a T-Rex, and meanwhile Zoro just looks at a Triceratops. Is like, is that edible?
Yeah. Broad strokes for this set of 5 chapters. Like Sanji and Zoro are kind of like they're just sort of off doing their own thing.
Yeah, we don't see them much. We get little tune-ins on them, and that's about it. It really is focused on the other 4. Which I think works.
Yeah, for sure.
To give these guys a bit of highlight, especially because Zoro's just coming off that big moment himself.
Yeah, that's true. Gotta let the other crew members shine.
Yeah, and Sanji hasn't had his chance to shine yet, but I'm sure it's coming. Mm-hmm. He'll get his chance. But we find out what found Usopp and Nami last time. Good old Broggy the Giant, where he wants some ale.
That I love that. Like he just kind of walks up all casual, like he's like pushing aside the palm tree. He's like, "Hey,"
it's like, "Hey, got any booze?" Cool. Yeah.
Well, I love that. It's like that's the first thing he asks for, and then like right after he gets bit in the butt by a dinosaur.
I know. He just screams in their faces, and you get the revelation that a T-Rex bit him in the butt. And dear God, there are a lot of decapitations in this because bam, just cuts it right off.
One panel just and just Nami and Usopp are just freaking out.
I mean, we just watched a giant behead a T-Rex.
Yeah.
And
oh, it's so metal.
Oh God, it is super metal, and he's just saying, "I'm the mightiest warrior of Elbaf, Bragi," and it's like, "I've got meat. Now we feast. You're my guests." Just like I'm going to play dead.
What an introduction!
Oh, it's a fantastic introduction. Like you get their fear, but he's like, "Oh, this is just such a good-natured guy."
Yeah, he's such a nice guy. You know, sure he cut that T-Rex's head off just clean. One with one stroke of his giant axe, but like there's this. So I don't know if I can't call him like a gentle giant, but like he seems very friendly and fun loving.
Yeah, I mean to be fair, he got bit in the butt, so I think
it's a reasonable reaction. Yeah. I feel like it kind of sets the tone for like what is the kind of person who would live here on an island of dinosaurs. There's like, oh, okay, yeah,
that makes sense. And Luffy's enjoying the island. He's like, I'm ready to have my lunch up on top of this brontosaurus.
Yeah.
Just enjoying it. And I love Vivi calling out the warning. It's like,
hey,
it may be gentle, but it's still a dinosaur. And Luffy's like, don't worry about it. And I just love that little flip.
Yep, he just flip.
Flip and eaten.
He gets eaten, and then we get our second decapitation of the chapter.
Oh, just straight across. I love freaking Karoo. And the bug eyes.
Karoo has so many good faces in this batch of chapters.
He's our Usopp of this group because
of this side,
that reaction and the ridiculousness of Luffy popping out of the cut off neck.
Right, yeah, he just pop out of the neck.
And that's how we meet Dory the giant, and Luffy's just not like, oh hey. You're huge.
Yeah, he's
not even phased.
The exact opposite reaction. Like Luffy becomes friends very quickly with Dory.
And Vivi recognizes like I've heard of him, but I never saw one. And meanwhile, Karoo is passed out,
foaming at the mouth,
just down for the count.
Yeah. So yeah, now we sort of get these scenes of like both. We got Nami and Usopp hanging out with Bragi. And they're, he's offering them like a giant slab of meat. It's like, we're not hungry. And they notice that like, oh, there's human bones. They're like, he's going to fatten us up.
Yeah. He's fattening. He really wants to eat us, which when you think about it, that meat slab is bigger than both of them. I don't think he's going to get as much meat from you guys.
Probably not. But hey, I mean, they're basically just like completely scared right now, and I mean encountering the human bones is pretty like it
is true. I do love Nami's style. It's like we're probably at the peak of flavor.
Yeah. I completely forgot about this part too, where the important key piece of information we get is that Nami asks how long it takes for the log post to reset, and it's 1 year.
Yeah.
And he says, make yourselves comfortable.
I love that whole thing where we talk about, because I like you, I completely forgot about it. We were saying when we first talked about the log post, it was like, oh, it's as long as the plot needs it to be. And then we find out 1 year for the first one.
1 year.
Oh.
Yeah. It's such a good, like, even for me, because the log poses are important, but they aren't necessarily like, they don't play a direct role in every part of the story. So I was kind of ready for this, like, oh, we're going to introduce this thing just so that it's there for flavor, but it's going to fade into the background. But here we are, like, basically first stop on the Grand Line, and it's like a year.
Yeah, you're going to be here a while, so as they said, get comfy. And Luffy's just taking in with Dory, enjoying it. It's like, has a good section of that dinosaur meat eaten up.
Yeah, he's like sitting on it.
Meanwhile, I love Dory's little comment. It's like, your pirate box lunch wasn't bad either. Not very filling though.
Well, see, Luffy's already like, if you didn't like it, I'd have to knock you down. Like he's already threatening this guy.
Yeah, and Vivi's just like, those two are like old friends, and even Karu's sort of taking it easy, just slurping up the drink.
He's sweating a little bit.
And we get some backstory on this. Again, they're warriors of Elbaf, that's elsewhere on the Grand Line. And they live by a code. When there's a dispute, neither side will yield. The god of Elbaf decides, and the god protects the one who is right and lets him live. Apparently, they started some trouble, and now he's been on this island fighting another warrior, and whoever wins the battle will get to live. But they've been at it for 100 years.
100 years, yep. I love just how casually he just laughs it off.
It's like, I mean, he's like, oh, that's nothing. Our lifespans are 3 times those of most humans. So we could say like 300 years, really. That's still a third of your life fighting another guy.
Yeah, just kind of, we're here. That's what we do.
Yeah, it's whatever. And Vivi's immediately being pragmatic is like, wouldn't you lose your passion for battle? What's the point anymore? Do you still want to kill each other? And apparently the volcano going off is the signal for them to fight.
And this is how the chapter ends, because it's like that next page is the spread of the two giants fighting each other. And it's like, they're like, well, the reason we fight is long forgotten.
Yeah, it's not hatred as as Vivi tries to point out.
Yeah.
It's like all about this honor, and Luffy is immediately about that.
Yeah, and he's like, he just falls back.
Yeah. He is so overwhelmed by the sheer honor of the duel that he has to just lay back and take it in.
And just seeing the scale of it all across that spread is the detail of the forest and the giants looming over it is so cool.
There's something about their smiles too, just those big toothy grins, which I'm not always the biggest fan of, but it works so well for these giants, just how much they seem to live life.
You can tell by this section that Oda really loves Vikings and he loves dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And this is just like, I'm going to put my love of these two things like right here. And he's hoping that the reader loves these things as much as he does.
And you know what? It's kind of cool.
He sells it. It's awesome. Like, it looks cool.
I love it. And, that brings us right over to chapter 117, where we got Dory and Bragi. And this title page is just so adorable.
Yeah, they're hanging out. They're just, crossed arms, grinning. Kind of got like... Well, Zoro looks like he's completely lost on top of on one of them.
How'd I get here? I don't know.
Where am I?
And then I love Usopp doing his pose.
Yeah, doing his. I just noticed Luffy hanging out on the beard.
It's so fun. It's so adorable. Even I missed Sanji the first time, just hanging out smoking. But let's go ahead and jump into the chapter proper, where we're not even with Dory and Bragi. Instead, we're on Kukor Island. I don't know if we go there again, but it's an interesting design, to say the least.
Yeah. I thought it was a boat for a second, where it was like, because it's got like a little, like what do you call those things? Like not a sunroof, but...
Oh, the canopy?
You know what I mean? The thing... Yeah, the canopy, the thing at the top. I was like, is that like somebody just like hanging out?
It kind of seems like that, yeah. But honestly, I didn't have this thought while I was reading it, but looking at it now, it kind of reminds me of... Do you remember the Dance City for one of the shorts in front of the One Piece movies?
Dance City.
It's just a short, and they're just a city-wide party is going on. It just kind of reminds me of that.
Interesting.
It's one of the movies that never got a dub, so...
Okay, yeah.
I first spotted it because I think it was part of some anime music video back in the day. But
that tracks.
Yeah, so like, okay, I mean, hey, you got the characters dancing to it, so it makes sense. That's easy to line up. But it's time to meet another Baroque Works agent, and it's Mr. 3.
Right here, just introduced straight up. And well, I love the introduction. It's mostly like, kind of a little back and forth banter, and we see Mr. 3 in shadow and like talking to his partner, or his partner calls him Mr. 3, and he's like, don't call me that in public, don't stop calling me by my code name. And then you turn the page and he's like, you'll give away my secret identity, and he's just got like a top knot in the shape of a 3.
And even his cup has all 3s on it.
Oh, I didn't notice the cup.
It is immediately, this guy is utterly ridiculous.
Yes,
in that classic One Piece way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like because of I feel like whenever you're introduced to a character in shadow, it's like leading up to a gag.
At this point, you have to kind of almost be trained for that, because again, it's like, he's kind of cool. It kind of comes across as this cool, calculating character that's just got everything under control, and then you see his face. It's like, oh, he's still ridiculous, but he is a planner, so there you go.
Wait, is the top of his glasses in the shape of a 3 as well?
I think technically it's not as pronounced, but
it's not as pronounced, and it's on its side. But like, I think it's sort of like it's to evoke the feeling of the number 3.
Yeah, even his lips, if you follow that idea, kind of.
Oh man,
I missed all these details. I'll be honest.
Well, I didn't notice the 3s on the cup.
Yeah. And then we have his partner, Miss Golden Week, who's basically a child from what we can tell. She looks very young. Also, I love that we've gotten to the point of we had Miss Valentine, but apparently Miss Golden Week is better than Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Well, that, and I guess we have to, like, the concept of a Japanese string of holidays exists in the world of One Piece.
That is also true. You just kind of have to go with it.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, okay, sure, they have Golden Week in this universe.
Thankfully, I've since learned about what Golden Week is because of all the various animes I've watched over the years. It's just like, oh, it's just and Persona. Yeah. It's just a nice big string of holidays where you get basically a week off.
If you follow the release schedule of anything as it comes out in Japan, then you'll, and Shonen Jump as well. It's like they tend to have a double issue right before Golden Week, so like the week of Golden Week they're off, and so if you're following like a Shonen Jump series, it's like, why wasn't there a chapter this week? That's usually why.
Yeah, you gotta let them have their vacations. So there it is.
Yep.
I also love this. He was talking about like the lull between missions. It's so nice. By the way, you've been staring at the paper. What is it? Orders from the boss.
Yeah, this whole time.
Yeah.
But you definitely sort of get the feeling that like Mr. 3 is a little different than all the agents so far. Is like here he says in this big panel that like in the end the superior criminal's greatest weapon is his brain. So he's sort of the more like cool calculating type.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's basically all about what his speech is about.
Basically, we've had meatheads up to this point. Although there's some interesting things here, specifically when he says that the note says Mr. 5 has been killed, which we see categorically is untrue.
It's not. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Is that sort of, if it's from the boss, like we can either assume that like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That's odd.
We also get a mention of Mr. 2,
and
yeah, I don't know.
They should have done in Mr. 2 as well.
Yeah, they should have done in Mr. 2, but that's all we get. But yeah, we get sort of what this Mr. 3 is all about.
I guess it's maybe like to establish like he doesn't seem to think very highly of his other members.
No, absolutely not. He definitely thinks he's above all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that brings us to the fight between Dory and Bragi. It's a pretty decent fight. Leaping over the sword.
I think it's awesome.
Using the helmet to deflect the axe.
Yeah, Usopp's getting really into it.
Yeah, that's the great thing is like, what a battle. He attacks with single blows to a vital spot. And I love this, like, I don't know, it's just nice character development for Usopp. It makes sense, but it's also not something you'd immediately think of.
Yeah, this is, I mean, because I feel like this is sort of, I think, provides context for a lot of, like, what will be like the basis for Usopp's character development, because he's sort of like enthralled and engrossed in this battle between giants and this like glorious battle of death between true warriors,
between real men, and it's like
his inspiration basically.
It's like it's a manifestation of his goal, because his goal is sort of the loosest, but
he wants to be a brave warrior of the sea.
Immediately Nami's like, I don't care. I'm leaving.
Well, she's like, so you want to be a giant? Like, you didn't hear a word I said.
I don't know this, but like a whole village of warriors like them, Elbaf, someday I'd like to go there. That feels like a setup for something far, far down the Grand Line.
It does. It does feel like a setup.
From everything I've heard, it seems like it hasn't happened yet, but I don't know for sure because I've only heard place names and could have other things. So I don't know.
I'll keep my mouth shut on that one.
Yeah. But we get this fight between the two of them. They disarm each other and they finally clobber each other in with their shields and declare that after 73,466 battles, there have been 73,466 draws.
I guess.
Somewhere around there.
Yep.
And then they just start laughing. It's like, don't worry. I've got some ale for my guests and I haven't had, and it's like, it's cool. I haven't had any for my while. They actually have a little bit of blood splitting out from their mouth.
These giants are so jolly.
Really are. I mean, now we just need
it's hard not to just be, it's hard not to be like, just instantly charmed and engrossed by these characters. Like,
it's just so chill. I don't know. It's a good time. Yeah. And I love Luffy just shrugs right. He's like, they said they weren't going to leave the ship, but I guess they wanted adventure after all. And then we get some explanation for the skulls. It's like, oh, it's the skulls of humans like yourselves that came to the island but die before the log pose resets.
Yeah, because when you think about it, like if you have to stay here for a whole year,
you got to be kind of strong because you got dinosaurs, you got the elements themselves, you got the volcanoes. Some are stupid enough to actually attack the giants, which we actually do have a reason for why they would do that.
Yeah.
Because at first I'm like, why would you even attempt that with these guys?
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about putting those 2 and 2 together, but that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, poor Vivi. This is the problem here. Is like, even if we manage to survive, that's not a good thing for her kingdom.
Luffy's like, more importantly, we'd get bored. It's just like,
he's like, well, we do have an eternal pose set to our homeland. But that's actually what we're fighting over. And Luffy's like, no, I don't want to go to Elbaf. We got to just get to the next island.
I think I will say, as I think this will probably be okay to say, but the concept of having an eternal pose to somewhere as far away as Elbaf is very funny to me.
Yeah, because
given all that has happened so far.
All right. I guess it points you far down the line at this rate.
Like even if you had it, yeah, like the amount of things you would have to go through to actually get there.
Yeah, it is quite the trip. And I love that Dory just says, hey, you can just go on your way. With a little luck, you might get there. And Luffy's like, yeah, we could. I mean, that was how fair. He sailed when he first started this whole journey. So, yeah, I could see it. And then I love how Usopp and Nami have actually made friends with Bragi at this point. It's just like, Usopp's like, I want to be just like you. A giant?
No, nobody understands him. I do sort of love the idea that the giants are just kind of like, hold on 1 second. I got to go kick my friend's ass for a second. It just comes right back to have a normal conversation.
Yeah, back to your corners. It's just like, all right, well, where were we at?
Yeah.
Bragi points out is because our lives are longer, our desire to die with honor is greater too. Because they see how material things fade.
I love the sort of peek into the, like, we know so little about Elbaf, even now, even as a current reader, even now, but like this sort of peek into like their kind of value system based on the fact that they live longer it's a really cool piece of world building.
Get that idea of the whole treasure that it doesn't have to be actual money. Because
exactly,
with Usopp saying, so honor is a treasure. And it's I don't know, like we've been saying, it's just a good moment between these two. Yeah. And that's what makes the page turns so just out of left field.
Yeah.
We turn the page and boom, Dory's mouth is exploding because of the ale that he took a bite of. And it looks painful. This smoke pouring out of his mouth, the missing teeth, the close-up on his eyes.
Yeah, that panel on the next page where he's just like covered in ink. Just, like, who are the deceivers? Like, just looming over Luffy and Vivi. Like, that is horrifying. Yeah,
it shows how terrifying these guys can be.
Yeah.
And them just panicking, like, what's going on? That didn't come from our ship.
Like, who did this?
Yeah. Who did this? And Dory, I love that Dory immediately is like, no, it can't be Bragi. We've been doing this for 100 years. It can't be that. And Luffy knows it isn't his people and all that, but then we get to the end of this chapter where it's like, well, we got Luffy versus Dory now because he just has to put him down.
Luffy's going to fight a giant.
I love how casually he tosses his hat to Vivi, though.
Oh, like, I didn't even notice that.
Level of trust.
Yeah, and he's doing some stretches.
Yeah. Very interesting there. But, man, what a game changer.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I knew that happened. It caught me off guard when it happened. I thought there was more build-up.
Yeah, and I forgot about the element where Dory thinks it's Luffy in them. It's like, I guess he has like absolute trust in his friend. Yeah, like he's honorable and he wouldn't do this. So like, it must be you because you guys just got here.
Yeah, that's the only option. So time to fight. Because, dear God, we're 3 pages in and we have a twist like that. I mean, not 3 pages, 3 chapters into this arc and that have that kind of twist. Definitely threw me for a loop.
Yeah, things are moving along a lot faster than I remember.
Mm-hmm. And that brings us to chapter 118, Someone's Out There, where you could call this page useless, but I do kind of like the buildup of it.
I actually really like it.
Yeah, it's the little girl from the town. She's like all upset, like, how could you let Kobe and Helmeppo leave? And their mother's trying to be like, no, don't worry, they're going to become high-ranking members. They're going to get the cool coats.
Yeah, it's the cool coats.
So it's just cute.
Yeah, it's not, I was like, oh, that's the little girl from like way back when.
Mm-hmm. I can appreciate cute for those one-offs.
Yeah.
And getting into the chapter itself, we got a face-off between Luffy and Dory, and man, all you can do is just feel pity at this point.
Yeah, Dory's not looking like he's in good shape. You know, Vivi's just like, your insides are torn up.
Yeah. Dude, you keep still, and he's just not listening because he's like, how dare you try to trick me? And Luffy's able to avoid the sword and run up it, and he tries to do his gum hit, but man, it really does show how good of a fighter Dory is. He just smacks him away with that shield.
Yeah, the visual of Dory like slamming his sword down and then Luffy running up it is just some really, really cool choreography.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then just you feel that impact when like Dory knocks him out of the air.
Oh yeah,
just straight into the ground.
Because we've seen Luffy do that wind up before, but to get knocked out like that is
just sit down.
Yeah. Luffy getting away from the other sword attack thanks to the trees, and oh god, Dory coughing up the blood.
Yeah,
you feel so bad for him, especially because his stomach is blowing up, and Luffy has to use the gum rocket to go into his stomach.
Yeah, it just yeets himself right in, and it knocks him down.
Yeah.
Well, it knocks him down, but Luffy kind of gets squished by Dory's foot.
Yeah, he gets stepped on. So technically, Luffy does lose this fight, but it's enough to still knock him down just because of the existing injuries.
Yeah, pretty much. And I love the Luffy-shaped hole in the ground.
Oh, Luffy. Vivi's just, it's like, it probably was the only way to get him to rest, but Luffy is not happy.
Yeah, he's mad.
Yeah, and he's just like, he's smart enough to realize, like, there is somebody else on this island. Yeah. And I think that's the thing that threw me off the most, because you kind of knew that Mr. 3 was behind it to some degree, but he was introduced, like, at the beginning on a different island and somehow made it all the way here. So having some time dilation, it really messes with where you think things are.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that must have been close by.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But we come across, we see who else is on this island where a lizard tries to bite a house and ends up cracking all his teeth.
Yeah, weird drippy looking house. I didn't even notice the teeth. Yeah.
It's a poor thing.
And then, we've got Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine here.
Yeah. Who shows what she's capable of using that 10,000 kilo press to just impact the dinosaur.
Right, because we couldn't see it earlier.
I was like, oh, right, they are dangerous.
This is what happens when you can't just like step out of the way like Zoro did.
Yeah. Inside the house is Mr. 3 and Miss Golden Week, who's taking a nice nap. She is.
Yep.
I completely forget what Miss Golden Week's deal is.
I remember vaguely, but I'll wait for the full explanation.
Yeah, but Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine are like, no, this is our mission, so we're gonna handle it.
Yeah,
and
you get a sense of the pecking order with this crew here. Is that they're basically like they're Mr. 5, Miss Valentine are like making excuses basically, and they're just kind of like Mr. 3's like, be better.
Yeah, it's like, we have to execute these things perfectly, and because you're actually here, we'll give you 30% of the reward. And if you don't like that, I'm going to kill you now.
Yeah. I do kind of find it interesting, like, because our introduction to Baroque works in general is so, like, kind of goofy and then a little threatening, but then they're, like, mostly no match for Zoro. So it's sort of a weird, like, I feel like we have to spend some time to, like, reintroduce that these characters are a threat.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that because they weren't a threat.
Yeah.
We don't know what Mr. 3 is capable of. He definitely seems smarter than most people. Than we've came across here.
He's in charge of the situation, it feels like now.
Oh yeah. He completely took over. And that's when we find out that, hey, Dory and Broggy were wanted as pirates.
Yeah. It's like it's one of the posters from 100 years ago, but like it's still valid.
Yep. God, that's terrifying to have giant pirates and giant pirate ships.
Yeah. Oh God.
Just seeing that scene, it's like, oh, geez, that's like, what
you
do
thought
you
pirates
do?
were scary. What if they were really big?
Yeah. And I gotta love the use of the word giant over and over again.
Yeah.
It was the comment like once there was a band of giant pirates. They were called the Giant Pirate Warrior Band.
Look, we never said that the Giants were creative in their names, all right?
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, but they're Dory the Blue and Broggy the Red. Why? I don't know.
Yeah, might make more sense in animation.
Yeah, maybe. Also, I mean, we got to have red versus blue.
Got him.
I don't even know if that was a thing at this point. Maybe.
Oh God. Jeez.
I don't even want to think
I don't need to figure out how old I want to feel.
I know, exactly. But yeah, we find out that the bounty on their heads was 100 million each.
Yeah.
Which is definitely bigger than Luffy. What was Crocodile's? I think it was
Oh God.
90 million or 70 million. I can't remember.
Yeah, not off the top of my head. But it's easily the highest bounty we've seen so far.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. And hey, bombs, we got Mr. Five here. Makes sense that Mr. Five was the one to spike the ale.
Yeah. Oh, that means he drank his booger.
Yeah, that's gross. But yeah, they set it all up so they can take him down and do it without even having to worry about fighting.
Yeah, I do like that. It's Mr. 3 to kind of be the one that like, hey, we're gonna have to use your brain cells a little bit. Like,
yeah,
he's the tactical one.
It's tactics that I can definitely. I feel like I can get behind this a bit more, just because it does feel clever. It's because we got the tactics of Kuro. You know, he was supposedly really smart, and we saw that up until the final bits of his plan, but it never really fully came across. Same with Don Krieg, who had tactics and to keep opponents away and throw them off and not fight directly. For whatever reason, Mr. 3 comes across the best of them as like actual threat.
Yeah, it's despite how stupid he looks.
Yeah, he looks absolutely ridiculous, but I mean, dude's plan just took down a giant.
Exactly, like you've seen. I think that's sort of what I was waiting for, right? Like we have now seen, and we saw this with All Sunday a few chapters ago, where like she basically blew up Igaram, and so that was threatening. But like, of course, because she's the partner of Mr. Zero, so you're like, oh well, duh. But we kind of have like some of the lower ranking members are still like, we are seeing them actually be a threat. Yeah.
It definitely comes across as, okay, you are going to actually have problems with this group. It's not going to be as easy as Zoro had it, but granted, we have a baseline. Okay, we're at least stronger than 5 and Valentine, but now we've gone beyond 4 to 3.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is the part where things are getting serious. Also, I looked up Crocodile's bounty is 81 million. 81 million.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's a little shy of the Giants.
That's still that's crazy.
Yeah, that's still a lot.
But then, man, those stupid volcanoes.
Yep, and it's right back to work.
Yep, right back to the daily grind. Is like, you remember those old Looney Tune cartoons with the Sam the dog and the wolf, the coyote, and it's like, morning Sam, morning Ralph. But yeah, and they're begging, like it's enough to wake up Dory. It's like, don't go, don't fight, and it's like, I can't, I have to go fight. I can't disgrace the name of Elbaf.
It's so sad.
I know, it's heartbreaking, but well, we do have an SBS, and honestly, there's not much to talk about here, other than hey, that Doskoi panda that we mentioned before, that we saw in clothes, and another reader spotted that, and apparently, according to Oda, it's a brand currently popular in the East Blue. Expensive stuff. One T-shirt costs over 10,000 berries, $100. Wow! But watch out for the imitation merchandise.
Wow, they got counterfeits in the One Piece world.
Yeah, we got pirates. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, so you got to make a buck somehow.
Yeah. Apparently, the main store is on Mirror Ball Island in the East Blue, so we will never see that.
Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe that dance island is Mirror Ball Island that I was thinking of from the dance party. I don't know. Either way, let's move on to chapter 119, Deadly Improvisation, where more of the training with the boys, where it's actually, rather than fighting each other, they're taking on one of those really good swords guy while Garp watches. So
yeah, and this is the final one.
Oh, it is. I completely missed that.
Yeah. So
I thought it was just continuing on.
This is the end of our cover story.
Oh my God. I had no idea. I was like, well, that's another one. I didn't read it was the final chapter.
Yeah. I do love how casually the agent is, the Marine guy is kind of just like, he's got like, it's like he's holding his kendo sword, but he's like shrugging. He's like,
It's like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Wasting my time.
Yeah. And the I just noticed on like the bumps are like growing bumps, and there's more than there was last time.
There's so many bumps on their heads.
It's like a quadruple stack ice cream cone.
Wow, it's weird to think that that's how, after all of that,
that's how it ends. After all of that,
I mean, it's cool that they certainly went up in the world from just a random Navy island doing chores to actual fight training with an admiral.
Yeah. I will say, like, as many critiques as I had of this cover story, like, I think in a lot of other like adventure type stories, like Kobe and particularly Helmeppo, but Kobe for sure is that like the kind of character where you say like, you've helped me, and the character, Luffy and so on and so forth go on their ways. But it's sort of cool that it's like, no, like Oda is continuing to show what like old characters are doing off screen, basically. So
it's that trope of, especially in like the Pokemon anime, we'll meet
again,
Pokemon is I'll never forget you, and never see him again outside of like Ash, a few cases.
Meets the random bozo of the week, and it's just like, bye. He's like, okay.
And now we get to see that person actually work toward their dreams, which from that aspect it's cool, but it feels like moving characters from one place to another, and that's really about it. Like,
that was it. Yeah,
we got the friendship formed between the two. That was something.
Yeah.
We have Morgan out there now.
Yeah, we were thinking of the same guy. Yeah.
And we met this Admiral Garp, but that's really about it. So I don't know. It was Buggy's was definitely better. This was fine, but
I feel like it's definitely something that fits their characters. Like Buggy's was just bonkers half the time. So it was always something to laugh about, and it was like it's nice to check in with Kobe and Helmeppo is sort of where I land on it. Like even though a lot of especially towards the back half, we had a lot of really like nothing ones.
I think it says something that I didn't even notice that this was the final chapter. I'm just like, yep, that's in the spot. What are they going to do next? And we don't know.
That's it.
But into the chapter itself, time for some tragedy here, because off goes Broggy.
Yep.
Going into that, and Nami's still just incredulous. Like, he sure enjoys this useless fighting.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, well, let's get back to the ship, and we got to work out a plan.
Well, I love Usopp. He does this whole grand speech about he wants to be a brave warrior of the sea, but I can't do anything against dinosaurs. It's impossible for us to reach the ship to the jungle, and it all basically ends with Nami dragging him through the jungle. Yeah,
he's talking so confidently as she just walks with him, holding onto his bag.
Yeah.
And just like, I wish this bravery of yours would kick in already.
Yeah. If there is one thing I wanted to say about this section, it's kind of a tiresome trope in anime and manga, and I've One Piece has done it before. It'll do it again at multiple points, but you kind of have this thing where like a male character will be like have some sort of like grandiose dream that's like meant to be really cool, and then like a female character will basically be like, I don't see what's so cool about it, and it's sort of just like, girls will never understand like the dreams of men, and and Oda kind of lampshades it here because kind of makes a joke out of Usopp being so grandiose about it, so it's like it's fun in this instance, but there are others where it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's a minor thing in the grand scheme.
Yeah, it's a minor thing in this instance. There are others that I'm a little, I think, a little less charitable about, but I definitely like, because it's like Usopp is a really goofy character to do that trope with. Like, so I think it makes sense here. Because she's basically the one pointing out, like, this is really stupid. It kind of is.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I've seen other manga that basically do it like 100% unironically, and I'm like,
We also have an establishment of another trope. As soon as this happens, like, oh, that's how this is going down, because Dory pins Luffy under the giant mountain or skeleton, whatever.
This happens in One Piece a lot too, doesn't it?
I mean, it's a trope of just shonen where, like, we gotta have the hero off doing something else, and we've had graceful ways of doing this, we've had ungraceful ways of doing this. This one, I think, works if only because of how desperate it makes it. Like, Luffy would be there if any for other reason, but Dory knows that he would interrupt the fight. So,
yeah, that's true.
Nope, can't have you do that.
Luffy's stuck between a rock and a hard place in this situation.
And you feel for Dory. He's talking about his honor, and it's like, forgive me for
He's
suspecting
basically going
you.
off to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's very, as we've seen in like similar situations, it's very in character for Luffy to be like, like basically yelling at this character for giving up their life.
Yeah. It's like,
you have something to live for.
Yeah, this is not what the gods wanted. The fight's not fair. And it's just like, no, you can't possibly understand. You've only lived for, I love this, 10 or 20 years. You might be 10 years old,
right,
for all I know. Who knows?
Whatever. It's look, when you live to 300, a couple decades is whatever.
And Luffy's at this point, it's like, who cares about your sacred text? Just get this thing off me.
Yeah.
That line. After all these years, wasn't that ale refreshing? Like nectar of the gods.
The sort of like just the way, because this is a really like tragic situation, and they're both just like laughing it off. Like it's
like any other day to Broggy, and to Dory, he's just trying to treat it as any other day.
Yeah.
And then I get some flashes to Luffy convincing Nami about what kind of pirate he was.
Yeah.
With Vivi like seeing how desperate Luffy is to stop it. And Vivi's just like, why does he care so much? He doesn't act like an outlaw.
Well, I love this very like serious situation too. Where's Karoo?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even notice that at first. Like I saw the where's Karoo, but I honestly was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It actually comes back and means something. And Mr. 3 is just so full of himself at this point.
Yep.
Just that smug look.
He's all according to plan.
Yes, it's like, I knew the bomb wouldn't be enough to kill him, but that did some serious damage. Yeah, they were just wild boars. As long as you don't fight them head on, they're not much of a threat.
I love the framing in the middle panel where you have the 3-shaped top knot, like kind of framing the panel between the other two characters is really it's a really fun like paneling device.
Yeah, it really is. We get another motto. The motto of the Baroque works is mystery, but Mr. 3's motto is improvise and conquer. And then we're back to, hey, right, Zoro was in this story.
Yeah.
And
well, now he's got the
he killed the Triceratops. Like, and now I'm lost. And I think this is the proper beginning to Zoro's bad luck streak.
Running gag.
And I actually saw a comment. I believe it was from longtime listener Smash Matt mentioned like there's a fan theory that Zoro's bad directions only kicked in after he got Katetsu the Third. Like that's how
I saw that comment.
Manifested.
That made me laugh so much.
I was like, oh, that makes sense.
It's genius. I love it, even if it's not intentional. It's so good.
But yeah, weirdly enough, he comes across Nami.
Yeah, I was looking pretty suspicious.
Yeah, who's obviously not Nami.
Right, because we cut to actual Nami.
Yeah. And like they saw a dinosaur, and Usopp immediately takes off running as much as possible, and she just can't keep up with him. And then all of a sudden she spots Luffy, which also, impossible. Yeah. And something happens to her, like something like almost seems like smother her. We don't know.
Yeah, she screams off panel.
And Usopp hears it, doesn't know what's going on, and it's just like, well, I gotta run and go find Luffy.
Well, he thinks a dinosaur ate her.
Yeah. He ran smack dab into a rock, and Luffy's like, what?
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, he ran smack dab into a rock. That's why he's bloody.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we finally have the reuniting of these groups, and Vivi's giving Usopp heck. Is like, you said she disappeared, but you didn't go back to check on her. It's like, how could I? I was too scared. Brave warrior of the sea.
Warrior of the sea.
Yeah, same thought.
Yeah, exactly. Oh god. Vivi's got her one brain cell. The one brain cell among the crew right now since Nami's not here.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, I get it. It's probably Baroque works, and the ale might have been their work.
Right, because they don't know who Usopp or Sanji is, because they were asleep during this during that whole affair.
It's kind of a big thing there, and I also love that like Usopp becomes just as impassioned as Luffy when he finds out about the bomb.
Yeah,
and the messing up with the duel. And the thing is, Dory's still kind of hanging in there, but we get this other trick from Mr. 3 who does something to make Dory slip.
Yeah.
And that's just enough for...
cheat.
Yeah, Bragi to presumably get the upper hand. But that's the end of the chapter. It's like, man, these cliffhangers right now are rough.
Yeah, cliffhangers are brutal.
As far as the SBS, all we got here is Oda not liking to share his photo. And apparently,
I love that he's in a volume of Shaman King.
Yeah, who knew?
That's a throwback.
Yeah, it got that revitalization, but I have not heard much of it because it got locked in Netflix jail.
Yeah, that's. I feel like reading through One Piece is sometimes like a time capsule of like other manga that show up, or like what was running at the time, because he'll shout something out every now and then.
It'll be wild to hear him shout out other like more recent things.
I remember once we start getting like the Usopp art gallery, and they start leaving the Japanese ones, and you see one from a young Kohei Horikoshi who would later go on to make My Hero Academia, and then Oda is like, oh yeah, he brings up My Hero Academia in one of the SBSs. It's a very, very long time from now.
That's obviously
amazing. Yeah.
But otherwise, we learned that it's lemons on Miss Valentine's outfit. And Oda really, really is proud of his idea of the booger bombs.
Of course he is.
He just made himself laugh as soon as he thought of that.
This man has the sense of humor of a 5-year-old, and I'm here for it. I can't lie to myself.
That's great. That brings us to chapter 120, The Red Ogre Weeps. And Luffy's found himself an interesting hat.
Just made out of it's just a cobra.
Just a cobra, whatever. No biggie.
And the llama's got the straw hat.
Yeah, it's all good with Lawrence of Arabia up in here, but poor Dory. That strike with the axe across Dory's chest is just like, I just reading it's like, no.
Yeah. The visual of the pool of blood like spurting up, like you can see it like above the forest.
Yeah.
And you're just like, dang.
And I that panel of Mr. 3 laughing to himself.
That's such a punchable face.
I know. That is the perfect face to see that. Even if you're not behind this whole honorable warrior thing, that face is just like, oh no, this dude needs punched.
Oh yeah, like it's not only he revels in the fact that he's behind it all.
Oh yeah, he does.
And well, now there's a money angle to it now too.
Mm-hmm. So. And God, you feel for him. You see, it's just completely silent. As you said, you see the blood splatter. You get the flashback, and Dory looks dead.
Yeah, he looks down for the count. And
yeah,
that panel of Luffy screaming.
Yeah, pounding his face into the ground, screaming for it. That even Miss Golden Week can hear it.
Yeah.
God, 3 is just so freaking punchable. Also, I love how his teacup now is switched to the Roman numeral 3.
Oh my God.
Dude is proud of his rank, to say the least.
Wow. God.
And God, you just feel for Bragi so much. 73,467 battles and 1 victory. And he's just crying.
He's crying. Oh man.
Mr. 3 just taunting him. You weep with joy because you won. The simple-minded is so easily delighted. And Bragi immediately turns on him like, that look.
Oh yeah.
We get a little clue to that. Is Mr. 3, I work in wax, and Miss Golden Week is an artist of gravity.
I still don't know what her power is.
I have no idea.
Yeah, even with that hint, I'm like, I don't remember.
Nope, I don't either. We just see the wax form around Broggy's feet, and it's like, well, one down.
Now he's,
I guess 2 down at this point.
Yeah, he's caught prisoner.
Usopp is ready to just find whoever did it and kill him. And Vivi volunteers to come along. It's like, good, because I can use the moral support. And you can see his shaking legs.
Look, Usopp's, he's trying real hard, man.
He is. And then we see, man, that random comment of where's Karoo just made in a tiny panel. And we get to see Karoo again. And he's been tortured by Mr. 5.
Right. If you didn't like Mr. 5 already, he now is, he's got animal abuse under his belt. So...
yeah,
he captured him to basically quack for help from the princess. But good old based Karoo did not a peep.
Yeah, he despite his fear all times, he will not give up on Vivi.
I think Karoo is more brave than Usopp right now.
I think so. I really do. But you just feel bad for him, and that's just that face from Vivi.
Yeah,
that stare at Miss Valentine.
Yeah, that is. Ooh boy.
All right, Usopp's now on the list because they've seen him. Luffy is still desperate to get out of this and rip them to pieces and take care of them. And I did not realize this. I don't remember this from the anime at all, but apparently Vivi kept her Miss Wednesday outfit that holds her peacock.
Yeah, I had completely forgot. Okay, sure.
Under her shirt. I don't think they kept that in the anime, I want to say, because I do not remember that outfit after that point in Whiskey Peak.
Yeah, I know we were talking earlier about this is another classic One Piece situation where Luffy is kind of incapacitated for some kind of gimmicky reason or another. But it is sort of a cool situation where Vivi and Usopp kind of have to fend for themselves.
Yeah, it also works because Luffy it's different. Usually the hero's way off somewhere. Luffy is right there, and he can't do anything.
He just has to watch. He can't do anything. I do like Usopp tries to hit Mr. 5 with his exploding star, and he thinks it hits, but he because Mr. 5 also makes things blow up, it's kind of like, you thought your explosions could damage me, well here's mine, and then Usopp just gets completely blown up.
Usopp has it rough because he gets blown up and then hit with the 10,000 kilo press.
Yeah.
How is he? I mean, he's down for the count, obviously, but my God.
Yep.
So that's when it's like, oh, we're here to capture you under Mr. 3's orders, and that's when we learn that, he is the wax fruit man.
Yep.
Uses the wax his body produces as a weapon, a human candle. And he has Dory down, and his hair's on fire now. So definitely Candle Man.
Yeah. Well, wait, where did the fire come? I don't think he can generate fire. Even though, I thought he was just wax, but I could be remembering this completely wrong.
Yeah, I don't think he can produce fire. It might just be for his hair. Maybe he has something special.
Yeah, maybe he just has a candle, or maybe he has a lighter on him. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's where we end. It's just all we know is he's going to make some sort of work of art.
Yeah,
and it's a desperate situation. And man, 6 chapters in, this is a hell of an arc.
Yeah, we've established a very easily hateable villain. We had these really fantastic set pieces with the battles between the giants, and just getting introduced to the concept of giants in the One Piece world. It's sort of a huge thing.
It's amazing how immediately likable they both are.
Right? Yeah. It's just you introduce characters who are they live by a simple creed, and they just fight, and it's just like I said before, I think you can really Oda likes Vikings.
Yeah.
And he's poured all of that love and just that sort of this is the creed that they live by.
Yes.
And
the real men of the sea and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to see more because I don't think this is a saga, an arc that gets covered in the next 5 chapters. So there's a lot to happen yet. And
we still got
remember
more
it
to
all.
go. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I remember a couple things.
Yeah. I know some bigger moments, but I don't know how certain things are solved. For example, I have no idea how Luffy will get free of that mountain.
Yeah, I don't remember at all.
So we'll see what happens. But with that, I believe we've said all we've wanted to say about chapters 116 to 120 of One Piece. Thank you so much for listening, and you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube or BitNerd with an underscore at the end on Twitter. And Brandon, where can everyone find you at?
I am at Brandon Bovia on Twitter, talk about anime, manga, games, and especially my job lately. Again, stay tuned. I know that this is kind of a releasing a little bit later than we're recording, but I guess if you're listening to this in the near future, I think I'll have some really fun stuff to talk about soon.
Yeah, that'd be fun, and who knows? We'll see if you win your award.
We'll see. We got some stiff competition. I forgot to mention. I think the other manga nominees. Oh God, I'm gonna blank on them. I know it's Chainsaw Man, Spy Family, Zom 100, which is a sort of like a fun zombie manga that my girlfriend translates actually. And
then nice.
Then the fourth is Kaiju number 8, and then I forget what the fifth one is.
I gotta say that's some stiff competition. That's a hell of that's a hell of a lineup.
I'm personally thinking that Chainsaw Man's gonna go away with it, and that is 100% deserved, but to work on something that is even on nominated in the first place is a huge honor. Go read Kaiju number 8. It's great. Yeah.
Honestly, by the sounds of it, you can look at that entire list and just read those, and you can get some good other manga. While if you're dedicated to following along with us 5 chapters at a time, because I have seen some comments where somebody's told me that I started following with you, but then I just needed to get ahead. I'm already at chapter 600.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yep, that makes sense to me. But if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derek Bittner. That's DERRICKBITNER to listen to the next episode 3 days early. And make sure to return next time as we discuss chapters 121 to 125 of One Piece. Until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.
So seriously, and they don't even know why.
This fight's getting really annoying.
Don't you see? This is an example of a real battle between real men.
Say what?
Maybe an analogy will help. It's as if they have each planted a flag in their hearts that says, I am a warrior. This flag is more important than anything, more than their lives even. They can never allow the flag to be destroyed by someone else. That's why they both continue this fight for 100 years. Do you see it now? This is a proud duel, a legendary fight between 2 dedicated warriors.
Yeah, whatever.